The Arthur R. Marshall Loxahatchee National Wildlife Refuge, located in Palm Beach County, is the northernmost edge of the Everglades ecosystem. The refuge protects over 145,000 acres of wetlands, or 226 square miles, making it one of the largest urban refuges in the U.S. The area is managed for water storage, flood control, and wildlife habitat, protecting endangered and threatened wildlife species. There are three main habitats in the refuge: the sawgrass ridges, tree islands, and cypress swamps. Wildlife conservation is the core of the National Wildlife Refuge system. The U.S. Fish and Wildlife Services manages the public lands and waters that comprise the National Wildlife Refuge system. Hi everyone, and welcome to my channel. We're going to go for some hikes. We'll go into the visitor center and get some information, pick up a map, and go explore. So come along and join me. They have an information booth here. There's nobody manning the booth, and then there's a self-registry, but they don't have any envelopes. So the other option is just to go on to the visitor center and pay the $10 entrance fee there. The refuge was established in 1951 under the authority of the Migratory Bird Conservation Act, and it's managed between the South Florida Water Management District and the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. So out here they have areas 1, 2, and 3. These areas were constructed by the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. This whole area is a very important habitat for endangered species. They've got a series of levees and canals to help protect the area. They have 23 different species of animals here in the wildlife and over 250 different species of birds. Here we're up at the visitor center. Let's go inside. Perhaps they'll have a map. We have to go and register. These are some of the species we can find here: the great blue herons, the limpkins, the green herons, frogs. They have over 11 different frog species. In the visitor center, they've got some videos playing that explain about the restoration process here in the Arthur R. Marshall Loxahatchee National Wildlife Refuge. And one of the goals of SERP is to capture the fresh water that's diverted to the Atlantic Ocean and the Gulf of Mexico, and then redirect it to the Everglades to help restore the ecosystem. And so this is an ongoing process. SERP is the Comprehensive Everglades Restoration Plan. So I'm in the visitor center, came to register, and they gave me one of these handy plastic pass holders that I can hang from my rear view mirror. I never had one of these before, so it's the first time. This is excellent. They have a simulator for the airboat tours here inside the visitor center. I'm going to turn the camera around so you can see the movie that's playing. This is very cool.
So not bad for the marsh. So cattails are good, right? To keep the pollution down as much as possible.
Okay, so now I finished my visit up at the visitor center, which was quite informative. That was really a great little tour inside. I'm going to walk over now to the Cypress Boardwalk and go for a little short hike. Another map where you can go walking. They have trails, and the areas for hiking are numbered: C6, C10, C9, and then there's a canal and a slough that runs through. So the beginning of the boardwalk is just adjacent to the visitor center, so we'll go walk through here, and it's an elevated boardwalk through the cypress swamp. The Cypress Boardwalk trail is 0.4 of a mile and is a loop trail. Yeah, so nice to see that they keep the boardwalk up.
Now we're in doing is I'm doing the ones that are actually probably hazardous, but see how this is marked? But see how strong? Because it's pressure treated.
Yes.
So I do the ones that are like spongy, the ones that get holes in them, and then I go back around stuff. But you wait 2 or 3 weeks, and all of a sudden there's another one. So
For our
but as long
for
as
our
nobody-
protection.
Exactly. As long as nobody goes.
This whole area has giant ferns. So right across the road from the visitor center is a small road with another parking lot, and that's the beginning of the Marsh Trail trailhead. And so we're going to go and walk there. This is also part of the Great Florida Birding Trail. So the Great Florida Birding Trail is a driving route that links birding sites on public and private lands. This is one of them, one of the 2 gateways for the South Florida section. And gateways are the most convenient sources of trails for birding. There are more than 470 different kinds of birds that one could find along the trails. The Marsh Trail is a 1-mile loop trail. So here we are. This is where we parked. And we're going to follow along this road. And this is the Marsh Trail. So right along the road, you can see a slough right here. Right away, looking out over the marshland, you can see how enormous this area is. So right from the very beginning of the Marsh Trail, I've seen at least a dozen butterflies. This is looking out over several of the canals that they built here in the wetlands. The Wildlife Refuge has over 50 miles of trails to explore. They are both walking and bicycle friendly. They have these footbridges that go over to the tree islands, but they are not open to the public. From the Marsh Trail, I drove over to the Lily Pond Pavilion area, which is a very short drive along the main road. From the Lily Pond Pavilion area, I drove over to the Pier. There are canoe rentals, and there's a pontoon boat tour which leaves in the late evening. So behind me, we're looking out at the Loxahatchee Canoe Trail. It's a loop trail, self-guided. You can go out. You have to make your reservation online. I was amazed the day that I went to visit and hike the trails. I saw an abundance of wildlife here. Also at the Pier area, there is an observation tower to climb so you can get a beautiful view looking out over the canoe trail and the Everglades. I headed back over to the visitor center to hike one more trail along a slough. I explored 3 of the trails here at the Wildlife Refuge. With over 50 miles of trails, there's so much to do and see here. I'm coming to the end of my video now. It's been a wonderful day exploring the trails out here at the National Wildlife Refuge. Peace and love, and thank you so much for watching.